Hey, it's Bortone, and I'm here with Danny Eni. Am I pronouncing that right, Danny? After all these
You
years, I don't
are.
know.
Yeah, you are. You got it exactly right. Thank you for asking.
So it's so good to see you again. As you know, I'm a big fan. I love the stuff you guys are doing, and you've got something really interesting and different planned for this year. And one of the things that I love about what you guys do is you're always kind of pushing the envelope and trying new things and just being very innovative. So I appreciate that, and I know my folks do. So I wanted to start by asking you, this term hybrid course, I guess, is relatively new, and I think you coined it last year. But for folks who don't really understand how that differs from maybe the traditional course, what does a hybrid course really mean?
Yeah, so I love that question. I get asked it a lot. It's like, okay, Danny, you're talking a lot about hybrid, but what exactly is hybrid? Does hybrid mean coaching? Does hybrid mean gamification? Does hybrid mean cohorts? Does hybrid mean that something is live? Does
Right.
hybrid mean, and the list goes on. And my answer is always yes, right?
All of the
It's
above.
all of those things because hybrid isn't about any one silver bullet. It's about having to mix metaphors. It's about having access to the entire toolbox. So you've got the sliders and you can dial this one up and this one down to find the optimal configuration to create transformation for your students, which justifies a premium, which is great for your business,
Yep.
but in a way that is scalable and cost effective for you. So can I share an example?
Absolutely.
So an example is a student of mine who's in my program. His name is Ian Roberts, and he's a painter. He's been painting for decades. He's been teaching painting, and he wanted to create an online course teaching painting. And this is a subject area where
Hmm.
people typically don't want to spend a lot of money.
Right.
And he had a list of about 1,000 people that he hadn't emailed in a while. So we're like, all right, let's create this course. And he decides to create a course about drawing composition. So basically, like what goes where in a drawing. And a key thing about hybrid is that it's not enough to just give people information. You want to help them get good at something to
Right.
accomplish the outcome they want. And people don't get good at something by watching videos or reading text. They get good at something by, yes, being exposed to new ideas, then applying and then getting feedback.
Hmm.
So he says, I'm going to go all in. I want to create a great experience. They're going to learn, they're going to apply, they will submit their work, and I will record a video with feedback. And I'm going to charge $500 for it. So, he's going to, in aggregate, spend an hour, maybe an hour and a half kind of thing on each student. He's going to make 500 bucks. Not a bad
Hmm.
structure, great value for them. They're thrilled. We do the launch. It goes beyond his wildest expectations. He grosses $128,000
Wow, from a $500 course?
from a $500 course. And there's this crossroads moment that he gets to because he's like, this is going to be a lot of work, but you kind of make the calculus. You're like, all right, do I want to work myself like crazy for a few months and make $128,000? Like, yes, I'll do that. Okay. So he signs up for doing that. He's on board and now he's got to fulfill. And it gets so bad, his wife starts calling his office the Loom Tomb because he's like there 24/7. He's exhausted. He's like, okay, I can't do it this way anymore. So we're like, all right, well, let's look at how we can make it more scalable, not compromise the quality of the experience for the students, make it
Right.
better even, but make it more scalable for you. And so we look at a peer feedback structure where he's got buddy systems, people are giving each other feedback. So they're still getting all the good feedback. It's still
Hmm.
interactive, it's still dynamic, they're not on their own, but it's not taking a ton of his time. So earlier this year, he launches it again. He's got 2 rounds of the course. So in aggregate, this time, he makes $570,000. And it takes him a lot less time to deliver it this time than it did the previous year. That's what hybrid is all about. How do we ramp up the quality of the experience so people are happy to pay that premium in a way that is scalable and cost effective for you?
Right. So that's interesting about hybrid because that's I guess it's sort of a buzzword now because we're talking about hybrid workplaces and hybrid employment and all that, but it really is kind of the best of both worlds.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's combining the advantages of digital online products and delivery with the best of, interactive, dynamic
Mhm.
learning experience.
Yeah, perfect. So I know I want to take a step back and sort of talk a little bit more basic about what are the benefits around creating a course around your area of expertise. I mean, I personally think it's something that everyone should have in their marketing arsenal, basically. But what are some of the benefits from your standpoint?
I mean, this is one of those things where I'm so in it, I've got to be like, okay, let's step outside and like, what are the things that are so obvious to me that I forget that they exist? But here's the thing. I think everyone has a gift inside of them, something that's just amazing and unique to them, things that they know how to solve, make better in the world. And you can help people on a one-on-one basis, right? Really high dollar value, high amount of your time investment. And that is great, but it only goes so far.
Right.
And you can also look at, well, how do I describe it? How do I capture it? In videos, in text, in books, in podcasts. And that can like go out to the masses. It's infinitely scalable. And that's great too. But the transformation there is very low.
Right.
Courses done well, right? If they're implemented well, if you're smart about the structure and the marketing and all that, it's a way of kind of having the best of both worlds. How do we impact people on a deep and really meaningful way, but also reach a ton of people? And so you can reach a lot of people, you can make a lot of impact and make a lot of money. And there's no ceiling on impact, reach, or income. And there's something just really magical about that.
Yeah, yeah, that's a really good point because and what I learned the hard way, what you said earlier about the experience and helping people actually do it. So I've started to add an element of sort of a challenge element of like, okay, we're going to do 10 videos in 10 days, or we're going to do 31
Mm-hmm.
videos in 31 days, and do it with them. And I think they get so much more out of that than just the drinking from the fire hose of information. So having said that, which comes first, course or audience? Does it make sense to create a course before you have an audience to sell it to?
I love this question. I've actually gone back and forth on this over the last decade plus that I've been doing this. And what I've kind of landed on is that you could kind of go it both ways,
Hmm.
right? The answer is that it depends. So the course matters, like the course is a stand-in for the product, for what you're selling, that matters. And the audience matters. You need both of those things ultimately. And it kind of depends where you want to start. So you could certainly build an audience, cultivate that relationship, people get to know you, trust you, and then eventually you're like, so what do you guys want?
Hmm.
Right? And you hope you've aggregated an audience of people who are interested in something you want to teach and sell. And they may not be. You may find that they're telling you, no, actually, we want that. And then you go after that opportunity. That's a possibility. And then you create the course.
Right.
The advantage of doing the course first is that you start by getting really clear on what is it that you want to put out into the world? What is it that the world likes and values enough from you to be willing to pay for you? So you find that overlap and you lock that in. And then when you go to build that audience, you're building the audience of people who are interested in
Hmm.
that thing that you want to build, because
Right.
you can find yourself in this weird position. I've been cultivating this audience for years and all these people like and trust me, but they don't really want from me what I want to do. So how do I thread that needle? And there are things you can do. Having a giant audience of people who love and trust you is a lot better than not. But
Hmm.
it's even better if you have a giant audience of people who love and trust you and want what you actually want to give them.
Right. And I know in the course that the package that you're offering this year, you sort of have a course element, an audience element. How does that work together? Is it basically a three pronged approach?
It is. So this is a really nice coming full circle for me. So, I actually started my career in this industry. This is before most people even remember teaching how to build audience, right?
Ah,
I started by teaching people how to build audience and connect with the people who are going to be super fans and build those relationships. And then I moved in the direction of courses because that's what I was passionate about and that's what the market wanted. And strategically, it made sense for most people to start with the course.
right.
But yeah, once you know what the course is that you're going to sell, it's like, well, now where do I find the people? And so in our hybrid course university program, we actually have three courses that are full length courses that are included. The first is hybrid course launch. It's about how do you go from zero to launching and making money from your first course.
Hmm.
The second is hybrid course audience. How do you build that audience of super fans who will be eager and excited to buy what you want to sell? And the third is hybrid course scale. How do you build the systems that allow you to fulfill at scale and continue to market at scale to really grow it as big as you want? And that's all inside this umbrella of hybrid course university.
I love that. That's the full picture. You're not leaving anybody hanging like, okay, I've got a course, now what? So the other question that I get a lot as a video creator is, how important is video in creating a course, and do I absolutely have to be on camera, or are there other ways to do it?
Yeah, so I'll give you the general answer, but kind of with the asterisk that this is a little bit industry and market dependent,
Hmm.
right? There are going to be some categories, niches, markets where you never need video. And there are going to be some where like you absolutely need video. It's a highly visual medium, right? Like Ian's course on painting, like it's kind of hard
Right.
to
Exactly.
teach about painting if
Picture,
you
if you
can't
will.
see it,
Yeah.
right? It's like, so let me describe it,
Right.
right? A picture is worth 1,000 words in some contexts.
Hmm.
But so with those, specific things notwithstanding, video is usually important. It's kind of the modality that we're used to consuming and that we expect for high quality content. But that doesn't mean you need to start with video. It also doesn't mean you need to be on video, especially at the beginning, right? So the methodology that I teach is very heavily focused on kind of going from minimum viable version
Right.
to then expanding from there. And so you want to start with whatever you can deploy quickly that is good enough.
Hmm.
And that may or may not involve a ton of you on video. It certainly may or may not involve fancy, well produced, well lit, all that kind of stuff. You'll probably need that eventually, but that can come later. And here's the reality. I mean, I know that you teach people how to do this,
Hmm.
but for most people, and absent really helpful, valuable training and support from someone like you, video just isn't in their wheelhouse or in their area of expertise.
Hmm.
And so to produce the kind of video that you want, and we've got some amazing video content that we're releasing as part of this launch that we've got going on. I mean, guess what? I've got like a professional video setup. I've got a full-time video editor on my team. There were writers who are like, there's a lot that goes into producing that.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
totally worth it at the scale that we're operating.
Right.
But you don't need to start with that.
Hmm.
So you start with the minimum viable version, you start making money, you will then invest some of that money in the next version being even better.
Right.
So eventually, yeah, 100%. Early on, minimum viable is totally fine, and I wouldn't worry about it.
That's good. Good answer. Because I used to lean on, narrating PowerPoints or going on Zoom and sharing my screen. So it kind of got me off the hook for having to be on camera, but the content was still there. So I always tell
Same
folks
here. Yeah,
video
that's how my courses started too.
yeah, I mean, video comes in many forms. So tell us who Hybrid Course University is a good fit for. Is it appropriate for people who have never created a course before, or do you have to have some level of experience? Or...
So the Hybrid Course University is a great fit for anyone who believes and sees and knows that a hybrid course can play a significant role in their business and in their life, but it isn't yet, right? And so if you are starting at zero, you've got nothing yet, no problem, we can help you. If you've already started working on something, but you're stuck or you're not as far along as you want to be, we can help you. If you've already built a whole thing, but it's not working and you need to fix it, we can help you. The only person who, does not need the Hybrid Course University is if you're like, I've got a course, it's amazing, tons of people are buying it, well, then you're all good. You don't
Right.
need my help. Now, in terms of requirements, you don't have to be at any level of far enough along in your journey. What you do need is you need to be an expert in your subject area.
Mm-hmm.
There's this thing going around in the internet marketing world where it's like, if you want to create a course, make lots of money, you don't need to be an expert. Just read 5 books on a topic. You'll know more about it than anyone who's not a real expert. That makes you a de facto expert. Respectfully, I call bullshit on that, right? I think if you want to create a course, you want to teach about something, you need to know about it. So I can help you with everything relating to the course building stuff, but you have to bring the expertise in your subject area.
Right. That's good. That's really good. That's the least, I mean, if you have an expertise, then you're ready to go. So, a lot of folks, like I said, are intimidated by the fact, like, oh my God, I'm going to have to do video. I'm going to need thousands of dollars of equipment. And we know that's not true. So,
No, absolutely not.
so the last question then is do you have to do, and I know some people are intimidated by this as well, but do you have to do a traditional launch for a course, or is there another way you can promote it and get it out there?
There are lots of ways that you can promote and market your course, and we take you through the gamut of options in terms of what is appropriate at every stage, right? The launch that we're running right now
Right.
is a massive undertaking, like literally, dozens of people working full time for half a year to make it happen. And we've got a million different videos and I'm doing like dozens of webinars. Like there's a lot that's going into this. And that's totally appropriate for the stage of business that we're at. but it wouldn't be appropriate if I was just starting something new. It wasn't appropriate for me in the early days when I was getting started.
Hmm.
And so what we do is we guide you to the best options that fit your stage of the journey.
Hmm.
And of those options, you're going to choose the one that fits your strengths, your abilities, what you're comfortable with, the time and energy that you have to put in, and we'll find the best fit for you. So, I'm not knocking launches. Obviously I'm in the middle of one right now, but they're also not appropriate in this format for most people at most stages in a journey. This is really something that you do when you're later on, when you're ready to make a really big splash.
Yeah.
And if you're talking about, here's the thing: the basic structure of a launch is pretty straightforward. Give people a reason to understand why they need something like what you're offering, and then you offer it. So in
Right.
that sense, yeah, every promotion is going to be a launch, but it doesn't have to be elaborate.
Right. That's good news because I think a lot of people get a little overwhelmed with like, oh my God, I've got to do what Danny's doing. But it's like, no, not if.
Not at all.
So awesome. Well, I'm so looking forward to this hybrid course university. I'm so glad you guys continue to push the envelope. And Danny, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Lou, thank you so much for inviting me to do this. And I know by the time people are watching this, you're going to be just having a blast in Italy. So
Yes, this is my
have
fake
have a
Italy.
great time.
Thank you. I'll be in the real one soon. So thanks so much. I appreciate it.